Sup, bitches? So, for the past few months, I've been addicted to a little game called Baldurs Gate 3. In fact, I've been so addicted that I've lost countless hours of sleep. I don't talk to any of my friends. I don't even know if my family's still alive. But at least I got to romance Shadowheart, so it's not all bad. And because I'm such an epic gamer dude, I thought honor mode was a great idea. It wasn't. I haven't slept for 3 months. But what even is honor mode? Well, it's pretty much Baldur's Gate 3 on tactician difficulty, except on honor mode, if you die, your save file is deleted. Kinda. You see, there's this dude called Withers. He's like a magic skeleton man you find really early on, and he can resurrect any of your teammates for 200 gold. However, given that he lives in my camp rent-free, I'ma just steal that shit back. But video guy, doesn't that kinda defeat the purpose of playing honor mode? Yes, it does. A little bit. Our adventure begins with the most powerful paladin Faerun has ever seen. This is Bingo. You see, Bingo was abducted by an alien race known as the Mind Flayer. And as aliens tend to do in real life, they insert a little worm into Bingo's eye that like gave him some weird abilities or something. But then Bingo miraculously escaped the pot that he was captured in, just to immediately get jumped by a female Ketheric. But luckily she wants to escape too, so we team up and kill a couple imps, and then we stumble upon someone else who's also been captured by the Mind Flayer. This is Shadowheart, and she will be my main love interest for this playthrough. With our team assembled, we make our way to the place where you control the ship, the cockpit, where a Mind Flayer is fighting a devil, but because we got a worm rattling around in our head, he thinks we're one of them, and so he tells us to
connect the nerves of the transponder. We must escape.
Sure. But it turns out Lae'zel was never taught to land a plane in an emergency, and so we crash land on a beach where we find Shadowheart. My queen! And it turns out that touching a woman makes you level up. Too bad this won't happen again. A little further up the road was Astarion, who tried to kill Bingo, but it's okay, I'll forgive him, he's kinda cool. Lae'zel had been captured by some tiefling that are straight up racist.
Yellow as a toad, twice as ugly.
That's rude. But Bingo convinced them that we don't do that anymore, and so we shut down the trap, and now we had a full team. I tell Lae'zel to take a break after being treated like it was the 1860s, and make Gale join us instead. And then we prepare for our biggest fight yet. And I won't lie, I was a bit nervous here given that it's the first real fight of the game, and I didn't want to die already and lose my run. I placed Gale and Shadowheart on a little hill nearby, while Bingo and Astarion got all close with the goblins. The fight was pretty simple. I didn't expect it to be too hard. I just, honor mode and all that. But we managed to save the grove from the goblins, and with that we got another level up. Bingo didn't really get anything new. Astarion got to pick his subclass. He's a rogue, by the way. I don't think I mentioned that. Shadowheart got some new spells I didn't care about, and Gale got a Cloud of Daggers and Hold Person. Two very strong spells that I definitely remembered to use. Behind the grove was a little beach area where a couple harpies had taken a kid hostage, and being the brave heroes that we are, we of course tried to run away. These harpies are really strong. Holy shit. This is Bongo, the most powerful paladin Faerun has ever seen. I knew this time that things had to be a little different. And by different, I mean avoid the harpies. Everything else was pretty much the same. So after saving the grove, again, we stumble upon two people treating their wounded friend. And being a paladin, I of course offered my medicinal help. Double critical failure? What the fuck? Guess I'll just have to die. Feeling good about myself, I decided to take a long rest to restore my health and spell slots. Then I made my way to the Blighted Village, which was overrun by goblins. The most gullible creature in the entire world, I think. Within the village, the goblins had captured a gnome that they had tied to a windmill for entertainment purposes. I personally think we should stop bullying short people, so I told them to stop, or I would come and murder their entire family and tie them to a windmill. We freed the gnome, and Gale told me that he has a rare condition where he has to eat magic shoes. Sure, buddy, you have to. Freak. So after feeding Gale my shoes, we leave the village, kill some gnolls, talk to an archdevil, and then find Karlach, who will take Gale's place in the party. What, you thought I wouldn't team up with the tall, hot muscle mummy? Karlach tells us that she's been bullied by some paladins who live 10 seconds up the road, so naturally we tell them to knock it off by killing them. This fight can actually be pretty tough at this point, because this guy will one-shot all of your characters, so to deal with him, I strategically positioned Astarion on the high ground for a sneak attack, doing a solid 14 damage. Shadowheart was out of spell slots, and Bongo didn't have enough movement, and that's when I realized I was not prepared. Karlach went in for a melee attack and did a ton of damage just to be shot down immediately, which made Bongo so scared that he tried to run away, just for him to be 360 no-scope through the entire building by an acid arrow. Sure. Shadowheart then tapped Bongo on his shoulder, which revived him, and thereby marked the first time I've been touched by a woman. The remaining 2 paladins were not really a problem, so after looting the corpses and everything else the paladins owned, we entered a cave, and then Shadowheart accidentally triggered combat. You're kidding. This is one of the hardest fights in Act 1. There are Gnoll hunters who, after going frenzy, can shoot 3 arrows at a time. There's this dude who soul binds you, meaning you can't use bonus actions. This guy just attacks for a lot of damage. And then there's Flint, who has a ton of health and also just smacks the living shit out of you if you're not careful. Luckily, my guys were far enough away that we could just escape combat and get out of there safely. Back at the Grove, I sold almost everything I owned, then upgraded Karlach. Still don't know what this does. Then went on to kill some more gnolls, saved this chick from a burning building, made love to Shadowheart. It's important for the run, I swear. Then finally went back to kill the gnolls from before, and it went as expected. But Karlach was far enough away from the fight that I could just use a single dash to escape and get my team back, just to try again and have the exact same thing happen. God damn it. Astarion did survive though, so he brought back everyone this time. I did, however, just get enough XP to level up again. I gave Astarion the Savage Attacker feat, which gives him advantage on melee attacks, meaning I get to roll my damage dice twice and take the highest number. And Shadowheart got some new spells. Slay Queen. We went back to finish the rest of the gnolls, but this time, I was prepared. You see, back in the Blighted Village, there are 3 hungry ogres, and if you're lucky with your rolls, they promise to assist you in a fight as long as you blow their horn. Pause. Blowing the ogre gave me and Karlach the last little XP we needed to level up. Bongo got the Savage Attacker feat, and Karlach also got the Savage Attacker feat. Look, if you haven't figured out by now, I don't know what I'm doing. But we managed to kill the remaining gnolls, and with that, it was time to make our way to the Goblin Camp. The mission was simple. Convince the Goblin Guard that I'm a hired sword and that my employee is inside. Done. Infiltrate the camp as if I'm not planning on killing every last one of these bitches. Done. Raise up Shadowheart. Done. And last but not least, kill the 3 leaders who were behind the assault on the Grove, starting with Priestess Guts.
Gut needs to touch you too.
Why do I find that weirdly hot? This fight is stupid easy. She just takes you to a room and then you can just kill her. And no one notices? They don't even know I just killed their leader. That's crazy. We went on to save a druid named Halsin. Now, Halsin is important for the run, because later on he can join your party, and if you play your cards right, he can go into bear form, and you can have sex. Next on our list was Minthara. She can actually be pretty scary, mainly due to her passive ability Soul Branding, which gives her a little more movement, and also applies fire to her weapon. She can also give this to her allies, and so if you're not careful at this stage, it could do a lot of damage. On top of that, she fucking heals herself so much healing. But this is also why I grabbed Halsin, because other than giving you a rare bear SCD, he can also tank a lot of damage in his bear form. And after what felt like a few thousand rounds of just killing minions and Minthara healing herself, I found out that Karlach can consume these soul coins, which automatically applies fire to her weapon, which just turned Minthara to dust. Cool. Last up was Dror Raxlin, and once you kill him, the entire goblin camp turns hostile towards you. This is probably one of the fights I was the most nervous for, because Raxlin has an ability called Leadership, which gives all his allies within the circle an extra 1d4 force damage, but with a massive hit from Bongo's normal attack dealing a whopping 6 damage, we take down Dror Raxlin, and thus the 3 leaders have been dealt with. The rest of the goblins were pretty easily taken care of, and with that we entered a dungeon, which led us to the Underdark. But before going down there was something I felt like I had to do first. Fuck you. Back in the Underdark, Bongo was exploring, minding his own business, when suddenly, BAM! 2 giant minotaurs with big-ass clubs decides to jump me, and they do so much damage. Oh, fuck. Dude, is this how I die? It was how I died. Here we go again. Meet Bango, the most powerful paladin. Bango was no different to Bingo or Bongo, except for one tiny detail. It turns out that if you decide to kill the racist tiefling, you're welcome, Lae'zel, by the way, you break your paladin oath and unlock a secret subclass called the Oathbreaker, which can get pretty strong. We then once again make love to Shadowheart. I swear it's for the run. And then we found a cobweb-infested cave under one of the houses in the Blighted Village, which housed a giant-ass spider, and this fight got crazy. Not only did these spiders do a ton of damage, they can also teleport. Sure, give the giant spider the ability to teleport. I'm so on board with that. Oh, it can also summon tiny spiders. You're joking. We were almost wiped out, but luckily for us, the AI is fucking dumb, and as long as you just knock them off their webs, you should be fine. Lacel finished a giant spider with a standard attack, and the tiny spiders only have 7 HP, so they were pretty easily dealt with. Back in the Underdark, we meet a friendly race of mushroom people who asked us to go kill some nearby Dwagar, and with no questions asked, we of course do just that. Something I didn't know about this fight in particular is that if you don't kill this guy immediately, he will reanimate all of the corpses on the ground and have them fight you too. Yay! Oh yeah, and when you kill them, they also get back 1 HP, so that's fucking awesome. At least they're not that strong, so I mean, it's not like, what the fuck? With the Dwagar slain, we hit level 5, I gave Shadowheart some healing spells, Bongo got Branding Smite, another very strong melee attack, as well as Bless. Astarion got a class feature that makes him take half the damage he usually would, and Karlach got some more movement and an extra attack. And because we took care of the Dwagar, the mushroom people gave me a helmet that allows me to go invisible, which I gave to Astarion. You know, with him being a rogue and all that, I thought it was fitting. So with our newfound ability to go invisible, I decided to try another one of the hardest fights in Act 1, the Githyanki Patrol. For this one, I left Shadowheart, Bango, and Karlach behind while Astarion engaged with a sneak attack, which gave me the opportunity to sneak in Karlach and land a Branding Smite dealing 20 damage before getting absolutely demolished by one of the female fighter Githyanki. Holy shit. Holy shit. So I turned Astarion invisible and fucking dipped so I could heal up and resurrect Karlach just to do the exact same thing. But it worked this time, so I'm fine with it. With the Githyanki dead, we ventured through the mountain pass where we found a giant monastery, but also the entrance to a Gith Crash, which is like a nursery for Githyanki as well as training grounds. Basically a big-ass Githyanki base. We managed to convince the Gith that we need their help. What they don't know is that I'm gonna kill them all in a few minutes. Astarion stole a Gith shard from the commander, which opens a gate that leads to the inner sanctum of the Crash, where this guy was waiting for us. I'm pretty sure this is the hardest fight in Act 1, because every time you land a successful hit on this dude, he summons a magic sword that does a ton of damage. On top of that, he has an ability called Mind Steal Link, which leeches off a foe's psychic energy to make them more vulnerable and strengthen yourself. Not to mention the 4 other Gith that do 1 billion damage. Realizing I was fucked, I decided to have Shadowheart leave the fight, only to find out that even more Githyanki was waiting for me. God, they saw right through my plan. Piss! You know, going into this, I didn't think honor mode was gonna be that hard, but with my now 3 failed attempts and not even getting past Act 1, I decided to study. And by study, I mean looking up the most broken builds in the game. That's right, baby. No more of this bingo, bango, bongo stuff I've been doing. Meet Shlongo, a half-orc monk who's ready to fuck some shit up. Why monk, you're asking? Well, just have a look at this. Yeah, that's satisfying. Look, I'm not fucking Morgana Evelyn, dude. I have no idea what I'm doing, which is why I used her guides. However, I did learn a lot from these guides, and I went from having very little understanding of how the game works to actually assembling my own very broken builds, so I'm not a complete fraud. Anyway, back on the Mind Flayer ship, we once again team up with Lacel and Shadowheart, and this time I found a pet too. This is us. I freed him from a corpse, so we're friends now. We escaped, picked up some friends, killed some goblins, and after picking up withers, I made Astarion into a ranger and bought some strength potions. These are crazy. They put your strength to 21 and last until the next long rest. I don't even know how this is allowed, and moving forward, this will be our main source of hydration. Astarion being a ranger also unlocks the Gloomstalker subclass, which gives you an extra attack every first turn, as well as the ability to hide in combat using a bonus action. This is great, because being a ranger, Astarion uses a bow, and as long as you're out of sight, you can't really ever be hit. It's crazy. Check out this video by Morgana Evelyn for a guide and more detailed walkthrough on this build. It becomes so broken. So besides having a viable team this time, everything stayed pretty much the same, except this time we actually killed the Githyanki and made it to Act 2, the Shadow Curse lands. And let me hit you with a little bit of lore. So, this is Ketheric. He worships a death god and can't die because he trapped this chick in another dimension. Why? Because his daughter, this chick, died, I think. She seems to be alive and well. I don't know. His daughter doesn't like him very much, and this made Ketheric very mad, so like a true anime villain, he used his power to cover the entire area in a shadowy curse. Basically, we don't like Ketheric, so we should kill him. How do you kill someone who can't die? Well, you go on a quest to rid him of these powers by freeing this chick I mentioned before. Easy, right? No. In order to free the Night Song, you gotta find a crypt located on the other side of the map, then kill a couple skeletons, talk to a dead wizard, this is Balthasar, then kill a couple devils, and then you have to obtain some purple orbs that operates a magic elevator by completing 3 different puzzles. And these puzzles, man, The first one is a stealth puzzle where you can't be spotted by the shadows, but as long as you just have high enough stealth, you can just sneak all the way through. The second one is called the self-same trial, where you have to kill clones of your party. Dude, this build is so strong. Holy shit. And the last one is called the Faith Leap Trial, where you have to walk on an invisible path and there's like a map on the floor telling you where to go. Or you can just have a character with enhanced jump and, well, jump over there. So, with all the purple balls in our hands, we were ready to descend further into the dungeon where we would find a portal to the place where the Night Song is held. Oh, and remember Balthazar? Yeah, he works for Ketheric, by the way, and he's been stalking us this entire time. Awesome! He's been trying to find his way to the Night Song, but because he works for Ketheric, we don't like him, and so we have to kill him too. Yeah, get over here, you little bitch. Oh, what the fuck? Okay, so despite there being about 5 billion skeletons and a walking corpse, this fight is actually not too hard. Most of the skeletons can simply just be pushed off the platform, and the rest don't really have that much HP, and Balthazar himself doesn't really do too much damage either. I did, however, get Shadowheart killed, which I think was a good thing. You see, usually you have to pass a persuasion check for her because she wants to kill the Night Song. But because Shadowheart was dead when I freed the Night Song, this dialogue never happened, and I don't know if that's intentional. If you free the Night Song under any other circumstances and you fail to convince Shadowheart that we're doing a good thing here, she will leave your camp permanently. And I cannot afford to lose my girlfriend, obviously. Well, with the Night Song on our team and Ketheric now being mortal, it was time to kill that sorry bastard. But to get to Ketheric, we had to fight our way to the top of Moonrise Towers, which is a fight that is straight up just unfair. Like, there are archers on these roof beams that just shoot you. And there's these motherfuckers who summon spirit guardians that do a ton of damage. There are paladins with extra attacks, and the warden who's just really strong. But it's okay, because we got Jaheira, the legendary High Harper, who just turns into a cat. And that's pretty much it. Well, we managed to take down a few cultists before Astarion had to dip because everyone was dead. Astarion gets everyone back on their feet, and we wipe the fucking floor with the rest of the cultists before making our way to the roof to face off against Ketheric. This fight is also bullshit. Not only does Ketheric have like 1,000,000 HP, you also just can't really hit him. On top of that, if one of his minions hits an attack, he has a reaction where he can just straight up slam dunk hurl his weapon at you for extra damage. It's crazy, but at least the Night Song is here to help, and her being an immortal deity thing is sure to hit for some massive damage. She missed again? What the fuck? Luckily, you only have to get Ketheric to like half health before he commands his giant tentacle to knock out and kidnap the Night Song. You know, the immortal being that we just saved? What the fuck? Naturally, we follow Ketheric to his Japanese anime-inspired hideout, which was hidden under Moonrise Towers this entire time. And you'll never guess who we found down here. Is that? No fucking way, it's him. So with us back on our team, the only thing we needed now was to find wherever Ketheric keeps the Night Song. And wouldn't you believe it, she is right there in the boss arena. Awesome. I managed to convince Ketheric that he's a little bitch, which he didn't like too much, so he summoned the fucking God of Death, who somehow only spotted Astarion. So I just had Schlongo sneak his way past all the enemies and free the Night Song, which had us all engage in combat, and I think this might be the hardest fight in the entire game. So Myrkul, the giant God of Death right here, has his main attack with his scythe that cleaves, dealing a ton of damage and also knocking you back. He has an attack called Gaze of Death, which on top of dealing damage also frightens you, meaning you can move for a couple turns. He can also summon skeleton minions that can heal him, which is bullshit. And then his Call of the Damned ability that just pulls everyone onto his little platform that he's on. And if that wasn't enough, when you're on the platform you get the Bone Shield effect, which makes it so you can't heal. Pretty cool when you have 3 melee builds on the team. Despite all this, I somehow managed to keep everyone alive and do enough damage to kill him. No fucking way. Oh my god, I could come. With Ketheric now dead, we learned that he was a part of a group with 2 other people, Gortash and Orin, and that they're wielding something called the Nether Stones. These stones control a god called the Netherbrain, which we learn is like the entity behind all this that's happened to us. So of course we want to kill it. And with that, we have a peaceful night's sleep as we prepare our way to Baldurs Gate. Not. Suddenly during the night, a portal opens up and we're invaded by a group of Githyanki monks. And just like how I avoid every major conflict in my life, I teleported away and ran straight for the portal the Gith just came through. Because that's probably a good idea. Who would have thought? There's more of them. We kill a couple of Githyanki and then we find a Mind Flayer, and he tells us that he's not like the other girls. So we team up and kill the remaining Githyanki. After defeating the Gith, our new friend, the Mind Flayer, asks us if we want to evolve and gain more power by opening our mind to a new kind of tadpole. To which, of course, we said, Yeah, man, why not? Sounds awesome. So without hesitation, Schlongo ate the tadpole, which means that only he gets access to the new awesome powers. Oops. Anyway, Act 3, baby! Woo! We arrive at Baldur's Gate. Kinda. This is like a sub-city for Baldur's Gate. And the first thing we do is try to uncover a murder. But don't worry about that too much, it's not important. I also went on to farm some new strength potions because after hitting level 9, we unlock an upgraded version of the old potions, allowing us to get our strength to 27 instead of 21. Which is huge. I then had Karlach join us instead of Shadowheart. I did this because I wanted to take advantage of Karlach's ability to consume soul coins. And dude, Shadowheart is just cursed to never hit anything, I think. I made Karlach a giant barbarian for one single purpose. Remember Orin? She's a shapeshifter and a servant of Baal, the god of murder. Not to be confused with Myrkul, the god of death. These are two different things, apparently. Anyway, as well as Ketheric, Orin also has one of the hardest fights in the game where she turns into like a giant fucking monster that's really strong and would totally end the run. Unless, of course, you, I don't know, have Karlach maybe drink a potion of invisibility and just run up there and throw her off the platform. Turning one of the hardest fights in the game into probably one of the easiest. There's also Gortash, who's not actually that strong. He's just got these clockwork soldiers called the Steel Watch, which are pretty tough. But you could just deactivate them by blowing up the factory that they're made in, which makes Gortash just a dude. But before fighting him, I wanted to give Astarion some more power. You see, Astarion is actually not a real vampire, but just a vampire spawn, meaning that he's not as powerful as he could be. He serves a master called Cazador, but due to the tadpole giving us weird powers, Astarion broke free from Cazador's control, and so if you decide to kill Cazador, you can make Astarion stronger by completing a ritual giving him extra necrotic damage to all of his attack rolls. This is another really hard fight, but I just had Astarion hide in the fog cloud the entire time, which made the fight really easy. Look, I'm not here to have fun, I'm here to win. I had one last thing on the agenda before taking down Gortash and retrieve the last Netherstone. I wanted to get some new gloves for Schlongo, the gloves of soul catching, giving my unarmed attack an extra 1d10 force damage, which is gonna be crazy as a monk. To get these, our destination was the House of Hope, which is where the Archdevil lives. Remember him from earlier? His name is Raphael. He's really strong. We entered his home to find that he keeps a girl captured in his basement prison. Her name is Hope, and all you have to do is free her and keep her alive, and then she'll give you the gloves. What I didn't expect was that Raphael keeps 2 spectators in his basement prison to watch over his prisoners, and these guys have like a million actions, they frighten you and do a ton of damage. Go figure, it's like everything does that on honor mode. There are also a couple imps down here with Eldritch Blast, which I didn't realize had the knockback 2 enchantment from Minecraft. Oh, and where's Lae'zel in all this? Well, before entering the basement prison, I might have tried to steal a hammer from this place, which they didn't like. Oh shit, and for some reason I had left Lae'zel in the main hall with all of the devils, and yeah, this didn't go as planned. Schlongo was the only one left, and so with one wounding ray and a bite from the spectator, it was game over. I had lost honor mode. 30 fucking hours? What the fuck? Surely you just quit at this point? Nope, fuck it, we go again. I made Schlongo part 2. 30 hours with this guy. I had grown attached. But I also knew what not to do this time, and so it began. Escape the Mind Flayer ship, bring peace to the Grove, get some gear, kill all of the goblins, grind for potions, pick up explosives, grind for potions, kill the Githyanki, grind for potions, blow the living shit out of Myrkul, back to Act 3, grind for more potions, do everything we just did, except this time I skipped the House of Hope, fuck that. Grind for even more potions, ruin the city's entire economy just to buy more potions, kill Gortash, and find the entrance to wherever the fuck the Netherbrain lives. Good! I was so nervous going into this fight after losing 30 hours, not counting all the other attempts, and knowing that if I mess up just once, I would have to do all of this again. I could not afford to lose this fight. Oh, Jaheira is here instead of Lae'zel, by the way. It turns out that you can fail to convince Lae'zel to join you for the last fight. I didn't want this to happen, so I just made sure not to have her around at all. And the Emperor is here to help. That's the Mind Flayer from before, by the way. Apparently he's a good Mind Flayer, and also the guy who founded Baldur's Gate. Crazy lore drop. So we crawl the brainstem off the nether brain, which takes us to a brain platform in the sky. If I say brain one more time, I think I'm gonna fucking die. I had Jaheira stay back on the platform doing what she's best at, being bait, while the rest of the team entered through the portal to fight the nether brain. And for some reason, this is like the easiest fight in the entire game, but it is like a gimmick fight where every turn the brain destroys the last platform you stood on. See you later, Karlach. And also it gains immunity to the last type of damage it took. This is not a problem at all, since Astarion uses piercing damage and Schlongo does physical. And so, with a single unarmed attack, the Netherbrain goes down. And that's it. We completed honor mode. We fucking did it, boys. Let's go. Dude, this game is absolutely amazing, and the past few months have been nothing but fun. Even after losing 100+ hours due to stupid mistakes, I found that I didn't want to quit playing, and I don't know why. This is one of, if not the best game I have ever played, and I hope Larian cooks something up soon, because wow. So thank you so much for watching this video. I don't know. See you later. Bye.